I have yet to see a single example of Angel Reese being a leader outside of rebounding her own missed layups. What does Angel Reese do? What is her contribution? You tell me, because I'm not seeing it. I know I'm harsh on Angel Reese, but she considers herself a star. If you're going to call yourself a star, I expect you to perform like a star, especially in big moments. Caitlin Clark was injured. Angel Reese was the only star on the court last night. And for 27 minutes, she completely disappeared.
Angel Reese just had the worst showing of her career, and it happened on the biggest possible stage. Inside the United Center, the largest arena in the NBA, with a sold-out crowd and national TV coverage, she managed only 4 points on 2 for 7 shooting. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever destroyed the Chicago Sky by 27 points. But what hurts even more? The Fever were missing Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and their head coach. And the moment that really sealed Reese's embarrassment? That came later, because what Caitlin Clark did live on air afterward has fans saying she just sunned Reese. If you're ready to watch Clark take over again, drop a "Fire the Baby Giraffe" in the comments. Let's break it down.
Well, there's a lot of reaction coming in from last night's drubbing, destruction, annihilation, cremation, whatever you want to call it, roasting, sauteed, whatever your form of cooking may be. But the Indiana Fever absolutely dismantled the Chicago Sky.
You know a player isn't really drawing crowds when ticket prices fall to the cost of a gas station snack. This game at the United Center was Angel Reese's chance to prove she could pack arenas without Caitlin Clark in the lineup. All year, the Chicago Sky pushed the idea that Reese was just as much of a ticket draw, that fans were showing up for her just like they were for Clark.
Angel Reese is now quoted as saying, "I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person." She refuses to say Caitlin Clark's name. "It's because of me too, and I want you to realize."
Then came the reality check. Once news broke that Caitlin Clark was out with a quad injury, ticket prices crashed, from high demand to just $3. That's right, $3. You can't even grab a decent coffee for that. But that's all people were willing to pay to watch Angel Reese at the United Center. This wasn't just a small dip. It was a total nosedive. What was supposed to be a marquee event instantly lost value. Scalpers were left with worthless tickets, and fans who once seemed excited completely tuned out. The message was loud and clear. There's only one real superstar in this league right now.
Last night was somewhat of a big moment for Angel Reese and the Chicago Bravado. For starters, the WNBA moved the game out of the local dump the Bravado usually play in and relocated to the United Center, which is the largest arena in the NBA, holding over 20,000 people. Now, to their credit, there seemed to be a good crowd in the United Center last night. I had someone who was at the game send me a few pictures, and most sections seemed to be filled. It wasn't a sellout, but there was supposedly over 19,000 people in attendance. Of course, it's easier to draw a decent crowd when tickets are selling for $3 hours before the game starts.
Social media didn't miss a beat. Fans posted screenshots of those $3 seats, adding laughing emojis and making jokes about how they could now bring the whole family for less than the price of parking. All the hype that had built up around this high-profile game at the United Center disappeared almost instantly. Let's be real, this was supposed to be a spotlight moment for Chicago. The Sky had marketed Angel Reese as a player who brought her own crowd, someone who turned every game into a spectacle. But once Caitlin Clark was out of the picture, the excitement died, and fans made it clear who they were actually paying to watch.
Oof, what an outfit Angel Reese was rocking. She put a lot of time, a lot of effort into making sure her ensemble was on point. Are my boots matching my jacket? Are my gloves matching my hat? Angel Reese put in tons of time for this outfit, which begs the question, does Angel Reese put in more time in her outfits for the pre-game catwalk or does she put in more time to actually get better at the game of basketball?
Now compare that to past games where Clark's appearance sent demand soaring and had arenas jam-packed. Fans would even arrive early just to see her go through warm-ups. The contrast speaks for itself.
Folks, there were people in the crowd getting there early saying, "Hey, Caitlin, can you sign my jersey? Hey, Aaliyah, can you sign my shirt? Hey, Sophie, can you sign my picture?" There were people asking for autographs in the Chicago Sky crowd that weren't even born yet the last time the Chicago Sky scored this little amount of points. There were people in the crowd who weren't even a thought in their parents' minds at the time that the Chicago Sky last scored at least 52 points, the lowest point total since 2011.
Even Chicago Sky supporters seemed checked out once it was confirmed Caitlin Clark wouldn't be playing. The excitement surrounding the game faded into an almost forced obligation. People who had planned watch parties suddenly decided on other Friday night plans. But the plunge in ticket prices was only the beginning of Angel Reese's downfall. Those $3 seats became the perfect signal of the on-court disaster fans were about to witness from Chicago's so-called star.
Angel Reese, part 38, let's get it! Life throws her lemons, she makes bricks. Bang! PSA to anyone watching, she is right-handed. Right-handed, by the way. She missed the rim by 3 feet, man. Bang! I gotta say, this is my favorite summer sitcom. Pecan? Butter pecan? Bang! Here's a stat. She's been blocked 20 times, and she's only made 21 hoops. What?
Scoring just 4 points on 2 of 7 shooting in 27 minutes on national TV is exactly how you damage your reputation live. This wasn't some throwaway match. It marked the United Center's first ever WNBA event. CBS gave it a prime-time slot with no competing programming, and the NBA's biggest arena was packed with fans expecting a show. Instead, they watched Angel Reese deliver what some experts called a disaster class, folding under the pressure of the sport's biggest moment.
Matter of fact, this might have been the first WNBA game broadcast on CBS in prime time. If it's not the first, it's one of very few. This was a big moment. I'm sure the WNBA would call it historic. Angel Reese is playing in an NBA arena in prime time on network television on Saturday night. Outside of regular season baseball, maybe the College World Series, there was no competition on television. The eyes of the sports world were focused on Angel Reese and the WNBA. And Angel Reese once again proved why no one is watching.
Let's break down just how brutal this game was. Reese ended with only 4 points, missing 5 of her 7 shots, including 2 missed layups so awkward they drew gasps from the crowd. One of her shots was blocked entirely, and the cameras caught every bit of her frustration as the game spiraled out of reach. For someone being promoted as Chicago's star and a supposed fan magnet, this performance was nothing short of embarrassing.
Caitlin Clark is averaging more assists per game than Angel Reese is averaging points per game this season. Yeah. 9.3 points per assists per game. 9.3 assists per game. Let me just bring it up. To 9.1 points per game.
What made things worse was how completely lost Reese looked out there. Her decision-making was shaky. She looked overwhelmed, and she had zero response to the Fever's defensive pressure. Every exasperated headshake and disappointed glance was caught on national broadcast as brick after brick hit the rim. It was painfully obvious she wasn't mentally or physically prepared for this level of competition.
Another diabolical stat. She's 19 of 59 from less than 5 feet away. How about that, man? Dang! She should work at housekeeping for hotels because she can turn it over quickly. Lost by 27, scored only 4 points against the Indiana Fever. I mentioned no Caitlin Clark, no problem, give and go. Like a given no shot of working. Bang!
You prefer car or plane?
Car or plane for what? For how you want to travel! That's too many steps, and you can't do that.
This wasn't just a poor night shooting the ball. It felt like Reese didn't even belong on the court with professionals. The crowd's reaction said it all. What started as electric energy from fans who paid good money turned into visible letdown. By the fourth quarter, some were already leaving, even with the game marking a major milestone. And the worst part? Just days before, Reese had filled social media with flashy glimpses of her celebrity lifestyle and sky-high confidence. But when it was time to perform under pressure, she folded.
What an outfit Angel Reese was rocking. She put a lot of time, a lot of effort into making sure her ensemble was on point. Are my boots matching my jacket? Are my gloves matching my hat? Angel Reese put in tons of time for this outfit, which begs the question, does Angel Reese put in more time in her outfits for the pre-game catwalk, or does she put in more time to actually get better at the game of basketball?
The Sky's offensive struggles weren't limited to Reese, but her outing was by far the hardest to watch. No Chicago player reached double figures, and the team finished with just 52 points, their lowest total since 2011. Yet even with the entire squad collapsing, Angel Reese's performance stood out as the most disappointing. One analyst didn't mince words, declaring that Angel Reese once again proves she's nowhere close to Caitlin Clark's level. This wasn't just a bad night, it was a total meltdown on the WNBA's biggest platform. The Fever ran away with it, and they didn't even have their top players available.
But unfortunately, Angel Reese brought her outfit and left her game at home. She brought the nice hat, she brought the nice boots, she brought the nice jacket, she brought the nice gloves, but unfortunately, she left her game at home. 4 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists in 27 minutes of action, a minus 23 turnovers as the Chicago Sky, without Caitlin Clark, without Sophie Cunningham, without Stephanie White.
This wasn't Angel Reese's first meltdown against Indiana. It's become a disturbing trend stretching back for months. Flashback to May 17th, when the Fever absolutely crushed the Sky 93-58 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. That 35-point defeat wasn't just a rough performance. It was the beginning of what's turned into a recurring nightmare for Angel Reese anytime she plays against Indiana.
Angel Reese gets up, Aaliyah Boston shoves her, gives her a little stiffy. Hey, don't come at Caitlin. But look at her, Angel Reese upset. Oh my gosh. Hey man, this was hilarious. Look, Angel Reese was pissed. Look at her, she was still going out there a little bit. Look, took the jersey out. What's going on? Look.
In that May showdown, Reese tried to throw Caitlin Clark off her game by turning up the physicality. She got in her space, made contact repeatedly, and tried to bully her way into control. But the plan failed miserably as Indiana breezed to one of the most lopsided wins in league history. Worse for Reese, this wasn't some one-off disaster. That game was the start of what's become a completely lopsided rivalry. Indiana now holds a 2-0 lead over Chicago this season, both blowout wins, and Reese was at the center of each collapse.
I thought Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark were cool, but I don't know, man. The way Angel got up, she was like, Look at her. Ooh. I mean, she was getting after it, fam. Oh my goodness. Now, the funny thing was Caitlin Clark sniffing, walking away. Hold on, let me see if I can get a good angle. Yeah, look. Watch Caitlin Clark's face right here. Watch this.
The fans are making the verdict crystal clear. Social media is flooded with side-by-side recaps of both losses, showing how Reese continues to fold against the Fever. From questions about her ability to handle big-game pressure to memes mocking her failed efforts to challenge Clark, it's all over the internet. A 35-point loss in May followed by a 27-point beatdown at the United Center paints a clear picture. Reese's confidence crumbles the moment Indiana steps on the floor. Her toughness disappears, her offense breaks down, and she looks completely overwhelmed. So how did Caitlin Clark outshine Reese again? Let's break it down.
Clock is winding down. You got to close out with the hand up. Her hands were down, and Howard knocked it down, and that is a travel.
Reese drags the pivot foot, gives the ball back to Indiana. 8 to shoot. Boston this time working against Reese. Pivots, puts it up.
There's a moment.
This isn't just a slump. It's a full-on collapse of Angel Reese's composure and reputation when facing Indiana. The Fever have taken over so thoroughly that she seems unable to even compete when they're across from her. This growing pattern speaks volumes about both players' legacies and where this rivalry might be headed. And to make matters worse, Indiana didn't even have Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, or their head coach, and they still embarrassed the Sky. Think about that. Down 3 key pieces, and they still won by 27, making Chicago look completely outclassed.
No Caitlin Clark, no problem. No Sophie Cunningham, no problem. No head coach Stephanie White, have no fear. The final boss, Austin Kelly, is here. The Chicago Sky, we came into your building and we just, from pillar to post, smacked you guys around.
Kelsey Mitchell stepped up in a big-time way, leading the Fever with 17 points on an efficient 5 of 11 shooting, while also collecting 5 rebounds and 2 assists. Mitchell once again showed why she's such a critical veteran presence for this team. She controlled the offense and never allowed Chicago to build any momentum. Her leadership was on full display from the very first possession, setting the tone for the game from start to finish.
This time steps right through the heart of the defense and blows by Chicago. The wins off of Lake Michigan. Loses Atkins, step back mini, knocks it down. Oh, the connection to Howard. How about the finish from Mitchell?
And she may be the quickest guard in the league with the ball in her hands.
But here's where it gets really impressive. Ari McDonald came off the bench and absolutely torched the Sky with 12 points, including 3 made three-pointers and 4 steals. McDonald, signed on a hardship contract, immediately made Chicago pay for every mistake. She ran the offense like she'd been with the team all season, showing the kind of basketball IQ that separates professional players from pretenders.
But both teams facing a little bit of adversity, having certain players out or not at full capacity.
McDonald, a huge triple in the corner. Mitchell, patient in the corner, flips it up top. Boston, other side. McDonald, another 3. I'm loving it.
The Fever's ball movement told the whole story of their fundamentally sound game. They finished with 20 assists on 27 made shots, showcasing a team-first approach that Chicago simply couldn't match. Every possession felt intentional and sharp, while the Sky looked disjointed and confused. Acting head coach Austin Kelly deserves major credit for keeping Indiana focused and executing the plan flawlessly. Filling in for Stephanie White, Kelly had the squad locked in. He emphasized afterward, "Our best defense is when our offense is clicking."
Great job. All right, great job. Thanks, Daddy. It started for us on the defensive end. We set the tone from the jump and never looked back. All right. Their starters, 8 for 29 from the field.
Hell yeah.
Hell of a job. Great attention to detail. That's less than 30%. We held them 32% for the game.
Natasha Howard added 13 efficient points, while Aaliyah Boston contributed 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Even Lexi Hull reached a career milestone, surpassing 500 total points during the rout. The well-rounded scoring and contributions from every corner of the roster showed just how deep and dangerous this Fever team truly is. Indiana held the Sky to only 52 points with stifling defense. They forced turnovers, challenged every shot, and made Chicago fight hard for every look they got.
All right, great job there. All right, we won the boards. All right, and they're a second chance points team. All right, and we won that area as well. Taking away their strengths was something that we did a great job of. All right.
Just extremely proud of y'all. We stayed locked in. We stayed together. We executed the scout at a very high level. Just multiple levels of effort. Everything that we've asked of you today, we put it in there. And from now, again, stacking days, building on those moments where we're stringing those possessions together, right? Building on those great possessions on defense and on offense. Great, hell of a job, y'all. High level.
This win made one thing absolutely clear. The Fever are much more than just the Caitlin Clark show. They're a legitimate title contender, even when their biggest star isn't on the floor. The depth, discipline, and championship mindset they displayed in this blowout win at the United Center sent a strong message across the WNBA. Indiana is for real. While the Fever surge, the Sky are spiraling. Angel Reese's 4-point flop on national TV highlighted just how lopsided this rivalry has become, with Caitlin Clark set for a reevaluation on June 9th and a possible return against Atlanta on Tuesday. Just imagine what this team will look like once their superstar rejoins a unit already dominating without her. If you're expecting Reese to fold again soon, drop a "Fire the baby giraffe" in the comments, smash the like button, subscribe and turn on alerts. Hit the next video, we'll see you there.